Welcome to Envisioned Broadcasting Radio, your station for empowerment, music, and talk radio. EB Radio presents Empower Hour with Jaresha, a show that shares the stories behind the journeys of leaders, influencers, and motivators. The Empower Hour with Jaresha begins now.
Good day, amazing people. When I tell you I am extremely excited, I'm super excited for today's show. Let me get this out of the way. I welcome you back. Welcome back to the Empower Hour of Jaresha show. As you know, I am your host, Jaresha, and it's another day. It's another amazing day. And on this show, we feel like every day is an amazing day, but I am extremely excited to talk about what I'm going to share today. But if this is your first time tuning in, listen. I really want you to know that I believe you have the power to be great, have great, and do great. You just have to be willing to unleash your greatness and take action. Now, listen. And I'm sure you can hear the excitement in my voice because when you are celebrating things, you are excited, and I truly have something to celebrate. Now, I don't know how y'all feel out there about birthdays, but I absolutely just love. I love the idea of celebrating you, celebrating another year. And so I am celebrating a birthday on August 22nd. And so I am extremely excited. And I'm going to share with you some of the reasons why. Now, I am not one of those people that like dread birthdays and, oh my gosh, it's another year. And you're looking at all of the past failures, the past mistakes, the pain, the things, and as we get closer to that next age, we're thinking, oh my gosh, I keep getting older. There's so many things that I want to do. There's so many things I haven't done. No, I'm not that girl, but I am that girl that believes in celebrating life, celebrating new beginnings, and celebrating becoming her. And so if I had to really give my birthday a theme this year, it would be all three of those things, not just one, but celebrating life, new beginnings, and becoming her. Because I truly feel like as a woman, and if you're listening and if you're a woman, then you can understand. But even if you're a man, becoming him. But when it comes down to becoming, to me, it signifies a transformation that we go through, right? So a transformation that as a woman, we're gonna go through as we empower ourselves to attract positivity, to attract growth, to attract success in our lives. And so to me, that means I'm going to be stepping into my authentic self more confidently and embracing my own unique path. So becoming her is my theme for this year. And I get super excited about it because when you look at where you were the previous birthday to now, and granted, we go through storms, we go through obstacles, challenges, we go through pain, we go through disappointment, we go through so many different things. But a celebration, when we celebrate, that is not a time to look at those negative things. Yes, we need to reflect and learn from those lessons, but that is not a time to reflect on our downfalls. It is a time to rejoice and celebrate our life. Celebrate the fact that God saw fit for you to celebrate another year. And for that, I feel like we ought to jump for joy. We ought to clap for ourselves. We ought to do a couple of cartwheels if we're able to, or maybe a couple of flips. We ought to really get excited about that thing. So if you haven't guessed, that's what today's show is about. It's about celebrating another year, celebrating your birthday. And I truly hope that after you listen to this show, that you will really take your birthday and go all out. Celebrate you. And maybe for you, that means, planning a pampering day. Maybe it's gathering your friends. Some of us wait for other people to plan our birthdays. Guess what? Don't wait for someone to plan your day. Don't wait for someone to celebrate you. Celebrate yourself. So I truly hope that with today's show, you pull from it just a whole different perspective and a whole different insight on your birthday and how we should be celebrating. Because truly, this journey is one that has been very transformational for me. And so I get excited. I get super excited when I tell you, if you are, in my family, a part of, my children and those that I'm really close to, in my circle, then you know that I literally have been planning my birthday for some time. And it's all about celebrating me. I'm like, what do I really want to do? What do I really feel like this year should be that thing? And I kept coming around to relaxing, rejuvenating, resetting, really becoming her. And I told you what that meant for me. Maybe becoming her or becoming him means something different for you. But for me, it's all about empowering myself so that I can continue to walk into growth and attracting growth in my life and attracting success in my life and really stepping into the highest version of me every single day, and to be confident in stepping into the highest version of me every single day. So today, I really want to dive into the essence of celebrating, right? The celebrating and new beginnings as I share with you, which is a milestone, because I feel like every single birthday is a milestone. Not just when we turn 40 or when we turn 30 or 21 or 50, or every single birthday is a milestone in our lives. And so today, as I share with you some of the lessons that I've learned, some of the things that I'm eliminating, some of the things that I'm loving and embracing, and then also the things that's really empowering me to become her, I truly hope that you will make your own list of things. And it doesn't have to be your birthday. You can do this just to celebrate you, right? You can do this just to celebrate you. But my whole thought was, because I am becoming her, and every single year I feel like I'm becoming her. And what does that mean for me? So the first thought that I had is, who is her? When I think about her, what does that mean? And her, to me, is the best version of you that's ready to take charge and build the life that you've always envisioned. Becoming her. So as I thought about becoming her, And like I said, I had all kinds of plans, and I'm like, this is what I'm going to do. This is how this is going to work. When I tell you there were several things that I was, brainstorming. And I finally said, you know what? As I become her, what really is important to me? What really is, how can I become the best version of myself? Making sure that everything that I'm doing and that I continue to do is aligned with my goals, my purpose, my dreams, and it's aligned with who I feel like becoming her truly is, and what that builds for my life, and what that means for this year or this next chapter, which for me is going to be chapter 44. And when I tell y'all I am embracing, truly, I feel like when I turn 40, and let me just speak on this for a second. When I turned 40, I just had a new attitude. Now, I don't know if you out there listening and you're in your 40s and maybe you can agree, but when I turned 40, I had a new attitude. I had a whole new attitude. I feel like my thought process was different. I feel like my attitude was different. I feel like the way that I moved was different, because as we get older, we learn, we grow, and just the wisdom. And as we learn, I'm so happy I'm talking about the things that we're eliminating and getting rid of today, but that was a big part of that. So when I turned 40, there was a whole transformation. It was like a light bulb that went off for me. And I can remember because, when I turned 40, it was actually, my husband had planned like this big 40th cruise and trip to the Bahamas, which was amazing. But I have to tell you, there was so much reflection. There was so much just in my mind and my thought process, and the things that I was letting go of, and the things that I was celebrating and embracing, and the things that I was working on. And truth be told, we continue to work on those things. So, as I am in this new chapter and really celebrating everything that comes along with chapter 44, I realize that celebrating me, celebrating new beginnings, stepping into that highest version of myself every single day, and making sure that I am showing up as that highest version of myself, no matter what the situation is, no matter what the circumstance is, that I will embrace that success, embrace who I am really trying to become in this next chapter of my life. And so I had to look at it, because I was like, you know what? There are so many things that I'm working on. There's so many things that I have not accomplished. And I could have felt some kind of way about that. I could have beat myself up about it. I could have said, you know what? I was supposed to get this, and this done. And I know that's what we do as women and as people. We know there's so many things on our list that get done. Some things don't. But instead of doing that, I said, because I'm becoming her, these are the things that I am going to work on, continue to work on. And so that brought me to, what are the things that I really, really needed to eliminate? So I want to share with you today. It's going to be 5 things. So 5 things or 5 lessons that I've learned. 5 things that I'm eliminating out of my life. Like, it has to go. It's getting the boot. It has to go. 5 things that I'm absolutely loving and embracing, and will continue to embrace in this chapter 44 of my life. And then 5 things that's empowering me to become her, that highest version of myself. And I'm going to start with the 5 lessons learned, because I feel like And maybe you do this on, around your birthday or on your birthday, but I feel like a big part of my life has always been, centered and focused on reflecting and looking at those things that, those lessons that I've learned. I do this at the end of the year before we, jump into the new year and celebrate new. I do this every single month. And so it was only fitting, right? It was only fitting for me to do it for my birthday celebration. And so if I had to think about the 5 lessons that I've learned, my goodness. And, this goes far beyond just a year. But the 5 lessons that I have truly learned is how important it is to unveil the power within us. So when you begin to unleash that power that is within you, and first we have to discover that power that's within us. When we discover who we are, and I always say who we are and whose we are, and how we can unleash it, when I tell you, you become unstoppable. There's nothing, there's no one that can stop you from accomplishing your goals, your dreams, and walking into your purpose. And so one of the big lessons that I learned is how important it is to unveil the power within us. And probably most importantly, how I began to really get serious, probably even more serious about discovering who I am, where I'm at, and where I'm trying to grow, and how I can continue to unleash who I am. And it goes back to that becoming her. So even though that's a lesson that I've learned, that's something I'm going to continue on this journey of chapter 44. And so one of the other lessons that I learned is how that persistence thing, we don't realize how persistence is really the key in our lives in so many different ways, how we have to continue to show up every single day, be persistent, and not give up. So as I am becoming her, it's important for me to be persistent in every pursuit, that whether it be my dreams, my goals, walking into my purpose, it is very important to be persistent. And how when we are persistent, and we've heard persistence is actually going to win. We win when we are persistent. I can't tell you how many, stories we probably have come across, and probably even our own journeys, where we have been persistent, and our persistence has allowed us to accomplish maybe that contract, or secure that client, or secure whatever it may be in your life. But persistence is the key. And I have learned that. I learned that so much over this last year, and how important it is. And I say that one of the reasons that that really kind of comes to my mind is because when we're not persistent, and you may see someone else that is moving persistently and securing contracts and, getting clients and all of that. And it makes you think, it makes you reflect, and it also looking at your own, because I never would say, I would never sit here and tell you that you need to watch someone else. But it's important to also, make sure we surround ourselves with people that is, more successful than where we are. People that is, smarter than what we are, because it forces us to level up. And so when you're looking at success and someone else that is successful, and the persistence that goes in to their craft, their field, them being an expert in whatever field that is, it encourages you. It should encourage you. It should inspire you to show you that persistent. And when we are persistent, that we can win. One of the other lessons that I learned is that We're all going to make mistakes, and behind every mistake, there is a lesson. So I have learned that we have to make peace with those past failures. And when I say make peace, I mean make peace with it. And when we make peace, that means you go through, maybe you evaluate that failure, what happened, what could have been, done, you could have done differently, and make peace with it. Call it what it is. It was a failure. That doesn't mean that you are a failure. That means that whatever that situation was, whatever was going on, that project, that assignment, that was a failure. But we get so confused because we get wrapped up thinking, I am a failure. That means I am a failure, and we want to attach that narrative to ourselves. And so when I say make peace with the past failures, that means make peace with it. Call it what it was. This is what happened, whether it was a mistake, it was a failure, and we have to fail forward. So we have to learn to move past it. And we have to actually appreciate these failures as stepping stones. So that is one of the key things that I learned because, we have failures. And this past year, yes, absolutely, there was a failure that I experienced, and it was hard. I know it's hard. It's hard to make peace with a failure, when you're right in the midst of it, but it is a stepping stone. It is a lesson for us. So if we look at it as that and call it what it is and let that be the narrative, then we can use that as the stepping stone. Another lesson that I learned is that we have to be willing to embrace change. And so this past year, I had to really embrace change and understand that the beauty of embracing change is it's a catalyst for our personal growth. And so when we look at change in a different light and we, look at it with a different perspective, it allows us to understand and see how change is something that's going to happen, right? But it's our attitude and how we respond to change in our lives. And so this past year, I had a lot of things that were changing in my life. And sometimes it's hard to really embrace that. But we have to embrace it and keep pushing forward. One of the last lessons that I learned is that, sometimes things are not going to go as planned, right? So sometimes we have those unplanned routes that may be the best route for us. So you just never know, right? So sometimes those routes that we have on our journey can potentially lead to amazing discoveries for us. So this is where, if you're a planner and an organizer like myself, you want to plan and organize everything. Well, sometimes things happen. And again, this goes back to change as well. But sometimes things happen and it may be something that's unplanned. However, it can potentially lead to something amazing in your life. And so those were the 5 lessons that I have learned, going from chapter 43 and, walking into and really trying to embrace this next chapter 44. So the next thing I want to share with you is I'll share the 5 things that I am eliminating because I think that it's perfect, to share it right now. And so as I am becoming her, I definitely, I thought about what are those things that I really want to eliminate this, before I'm walking into chapter 44. And I'll tell you, there's 5. And I really feel like each and every one of us should have this 5 on our list of things that we want to eliminate. And not necessarily just from, as you're celebrating your birthday, but we need to eliminate this every single day, weekly. We need to eliminate it monthly, yearly. We need to eliminate these 5 things. And so one of the things that I have on my list is fear. We need to eliminate fear. So when we do this, breaking the shackles of those unnecessary fears, that is going to inhibit, your growth. And so we have to eliminate fears. And one way that I would suggest, if you're writing things down, is to write out your fears. Like, what are your fears? And how can you embrace your fears? How can you eliminate those fears from your life? How can you work through it? Because sometimes it's not just a matter of saying, you know what, I'm going to eliminate this fear, but how can you work through it? Because when you recognize that the unnecessary fears is inhibiting your growth. So I don't know about you, but I love being able to grow. I love being able to grow and bloom and flourish, and knowing that there's something that's stopping me from growing. That means I need to sit down and deal with whatever that thing is. I need to sit down and deal with it, pull it apart, like pick it apart, really evaluate it so that I can continue to grow. So hopefully if you're making your own list of things that you need to eliminate, that's one of the things that's on your list. But one of the other things that I have on my list is self-doubt. So this self-doubt thing, I feel like, it's always there. It's always those things that we constantly have to, program and reprogram our minds and our mindset. But we have to, get out of that habit of self-doubt and really cultivate self-belief. And if I'm being honest, I don't care how successful you are. Self-doubt is always going to play a role in your life. And you have to be willing and really be intentional about making sure that you're ditching it, that you're eliminating. So, if you start doing it now, anytime that self-doubt comes in, and that may be the narrative that you're telling yourself, we have to immediately cultivate the self-belief. We have to immediately turn a lot of time, that negative thought process, that negative narrative into positivity and positive in our life, and speaking that into our lives. So we need to eliminate the self-doubt. Procrastination is the next one. And if I can tell you all, this procrastination thing, it's serious. And I know it's serious to you too, because I feel like this is one thing that every last one of us in the whole entire world has. Like, that's something that we all have in common. You can't tell me there's not one person that hasn't experienced procrastination. This is something that we all have in common, is we delay tasks. And for whatever reason, like, we're delaying taking action on something in our lives, goals, our dreams, we delay taking action. And in order for us to eliminate it, we have to actually take action. Like, you have to do something. You can't just continue to wake up each day and say, you know what, I'm not going to procrastinate, but yet your actions are procrastinating. We have to be intentional about how we're not going to procrastinate. What tools, what resources, what can you do today that's going to help you eliminate the habit of delaying any and everything? Do it now. Do it now. We have to figure out ways to help us deal with this procrastination thing. And so we're going to completely eliminate procrastination. And guess what? It's one of those things that tomorrow when you get up, you're going to have to work towards eliminating procrastination again. You're going to have to work towards eliminating fear again. You're going to have to work towards eliminating self-doubt again. And the next one that I want to talk about is the negative self-talk, which I really feel like goes hand in hand with the self-doubt. So you're going to have to figure out how to eliminate that on a day-to-day basis. Because guess what? We have to condition our minds. We have to, reprogram our mindset. And so this negative self-talk thing, we are so quick to say, oh, I can't, or, like, I can't do that, or I'm not smart enough, or, there's so many different things that we attach to our negative self-talk that is not helping us. So we have to stop the loop of the negative self-talk. We have to stop it. We need to all eliminate this. Eliminate the negative narrative. Because if you don't believe that you can, and then your mouth is saying that you don't believe it, it's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. And then one of the other things that I feel like we need to eliminate is it's toxic. Anything that's toxic in our lives. So if it's our environment, if it's our habits, if it's people that is not contributing to positivity, he or she, the habits, whatever environment, it needs to go. It needs to be eliminated. And so we have to, again, this is like a whole evaluation and looking and reassessing our lives to see what's in our lives that we have to eliminate. And I hope with the 5 things that I gave you, that kind of helps you get to thinking and the wheels turning in your own mind as far as the things that you should be eliminating from your own life. Now, eliminating is so important, and I think, we all should be eliminating those things from our lives. But I can't, I can't just talk about the things we need to be eliminating. I have to share those things that at least I'm embracing and I'm loving at the moment. And so when I tell y'all the 5 things that I'm going to give you now of those things that I'm really embracing on this journey, that I am just loving, and loving some more. And the first thing is the journey. Now, the journey of self-discovery and self-growth, I am loving this journey. Over the past year, just being a part of masterminds and connecting with so many different people with many different backgrounds all over the world, just new doors opening, and I'm continuing to learn more about myself. So I am loving this self-discovery and self-growth journey. And this is something that I will continue to embrace and love as I read more and as I connect with even more people, and as new opportunities come. One of the other things that I'm really loving and embracing, y'all, is and I mentioned it early on, but this self-love journey. So I'll tell you, probably several years back, we always know and hear that it's so important for us to, practice self-care and self-love and everything else. But do we really look at what that means for ourselves and how important it is? And so as I am thinking about this whole process of becoming her, I was thinking self-love, loving yourself. How are you loving yourself? Now, many of us think, when we think of loving ourselves and, self-care, we think about that and how important that is. And, maybe I'm not sure what that looks like for you, whether, you're practicing self-care every day, if it's something you're doing weekly. But how are you loving yourself? And so this one, it really, when I was thinking about this, I was like, my goodness. Because there's so many different ways that we love other people, right? Like, and I was thinking even back to the 5 love languages and how we love other people and how we share love. And truthfully, that's normally how we want to be loved. But how are you loving yourself? So for me, I am really trying to be intentional on this journey of becoming her, of making sure I am loving myself. And that goes back to also, your self-talk and your self-care. What are you doing for yourself every single day? And those you may have in your life that's toxic. And there's so many different ways that we can, there's so many different things that we can actually think about when it comes down to self-love. And so in this season, in this chapter, I am loving and embracing the whole concept and the idea of self-love and how important self-love is to me. And so I have a journal that I have been utilizing with writing things down that I'm just loving about myself. And, like the other day, I was like, my goodness. And it could be something so simple because I love a good silk press, okay? A good silk press. And so, where I'm getting my hair straightened out and I love like I said, I love a good silk press. And so not too long ago, I did a silk press on myself and I absolutely was just loving my hair. Now, I don't know about you, but I feel like it's a woman thing that sometimes we just go through this whole love-hate relationship with our hair. That's why we change it up a lot, whether we add color, whether we choose to, add extensions, whether we cut it, whatever we do, we go through, we want to make changes with our hair. But I was absolutely loving. I'm just loving my hair and how it's silky and how it's moving and it feels healthy. So I was loving and embracing. And it made me think back to this whole self-love thing. How are you loving yourself? Now, I love being able to take some time and practice that self-care, whether it's, skincare or my hair routine, those things that's going to make me just embrace myself and make me really enjoy my hair, my skin, and really practice that good self-care. So that's one of the things that I'm loving right now. I'm also loving being curious. And so it's that curiosity thing, just always questioning and wondering. To me, it's that power to explore, where we explore more, where we learn, and where we grow more. So I am embracing and loving the curiosity part that I'm just like, I wonder. And not just stopping there, but if it's someone I want to reach out to connect with, if it's a question that I have, being willing to ask that question. I'm embracing and loving that right now. I think two more things that I have on my list is the healthy habits. So I'm really embracing being able to really practice or do better. I always have this thing, better, you do better. And so I'm really trying to foster a more vibrant life, in making sure my wellness and my overall health is better and I'm doing good and really, really being, there's intentional, that word intentional again, being intentional about what I'm doing every single day. The last thing that I'm really, really loving is having a supportive network. Now, I'm always about connecting and networking with people. And so I'm really, really embracing and loving learning more because whether you've been networking for years, and I've been networking and connecting for years, but when you learn and lean more into your networking and learning more about people, it does something. Now, maybe it's just for me, but it really does something. It helps you feel uplifted and inspired and really just helps you continue to grow and flourish. So those are the 5 things that I'm loving. The 5 things that is really empowering me to become her is positive affirmations, Now, I talk about positive affirmations all the time. And so I am feeling so empowered about these affirmations. I'm feeling so empowered because it is all about the change. So when we it's about changing the perception, right? About ourselves and our lives. And affirmations will do it. So I am a firm believer of affirmations. I always talk about it on all of the shows that I have, and I use them. And so it's empowering me to really become her. What else is empowering me to become her? Visualization and goal setting is very important to me. And so that's really key. I'm not going to go into too much as far as that because we know how to utilize visualization and we know how important goal setting is when we envision our goals and then we're on that journey to work towards achieving them. It empowers me to really become her. Constantly learning is another one that I have on my list because it's all about learning and growing, right? We can learn and grow no matter where you are. So every place you can learn, every person you can learn from, and every experience you can learn from. So I am really feeling empowered to become her because of having that concept. No matter who I come in contact with, I can learn from them. Even if they're, if they're young, we can even learn from kids. So young in their 20s, if they're teenagers, even children or older, if they're my age, if they're older, we can learn from every place, every person, and every experience. And then also healthy boundaries. So I am really, really this is a thing that's really empowering me to become her because I think it's so important for us to establish and maintain healthy boundaries for our lives. And so that is with people. That is with people. We need to have boundaries with people as well. So, I can talk about more about that, but I really feel like that one is kind of self-explanatory, where we just need to make sure we have those healthy boundaries for our life. And so I'm really feeling empowered now, and I have been feeling empowered to really become her because of all of the things that I've shared with you. This journey of celebrating life, new beginnings, and becoming her as a woman, as a mom, as a wife, as an entrepreneur who is turning 44, it has been a true journey, a journey of just ups and downs and all around. It has been an amazing journey, a truly amazing journey that I have enjoyed along the way, that it has brought tears, it has brought joy. Tears of sadness, tears of joy and happiness. But I'll tell you this, I wouldn't change it for the world. I would not change it for the world. Because in this next chapter, as I step into becoming her, it's something that I will continue to do every single year. So I encourage you to actually look at how you can step into your own becoming her or becoming him, and first identify what that means to you. Now, for me, there are so many different things. Like I said, I had lots of plans, several dinners and a spa and pamper day and, lunch, several lunches and connecting. And there's so many different things that I, just when it came down to me celebrating my birthday and planning and all that was so important for me. And so one of the things that I will share with you before I end the show for today is that as I was, just thinking about that self-care and going back to that self-care and what that pampering day and what becoming her meant, I thought it was important for me to have a becoming her journal. And so not that I'm sure there are becoming her journals out there, but when I tell you just a blank journal, a blank notebook that you have dedicated for becoming her or becoming him, that you just begin to write out, what are the things that you're going to focus on for becoming her, becoming him? What are the things that you're going to eliminate? What are the, some of the goals that you have, whether it be health goals, financial goals, physical goals, spiritual goals? What are the goals that you want to set for becoming her? And what are the affirmations that you're going to repeat every single day? And for me, I took it a step further because I wanted to have promises that I'm going to make to myself. And so because the fact that, I'm turning 44, I said, you know what? I'm going to write out 44 promises to my 44-year-old self. And so I began to do that. And I'm super excited because I finished my 44 promises to myself. And then I didn't want to stop there. I said, okay, this journey of becoming her for me is about continuing to show up for myself, the highest version of myself in my business, with my kids and with my family, with every area of my life. And the key that I thought about was the consistency part. How can I continue to become her at 44? And so I'm going to leave you today with this little, mantra or just something that I wrote out as a statement to myself that really was about and is about consistency and showing up every single day, because that's the first step. We have to be willing to be consistent with our thought process and our vision and our dream and our goals, and us saying that we're going to become him or become her. And so for me, this is what I wrote. I am consistent and evolving, becoming the best version of myself at 44 years old. Every day I embrace the power of consistency, knowing that small steps lead to great achievements. I stand strong in my commitment to growth, allowing no setback to deter me from reaching my goals. With determination and perseverance, I embrace this journey of transformation because I am resilient, courageous, and unstoppable. So at 44, I become her, the unstoppable force who embraces consistency and becomes the embodiment of strength and fulfillment. I am capable, I am deserving, and I am on the path to greatness. I am becoming her at 44. I thank you so much for tuning in to today's show, where I'm talking about celebrating life, new beginnings, and becoming her. I truly, truly hope that with today's show that you were able to pull out something that helped you on your journey, something that really helped you kind of think about your own birthday and how you're going to celebrate the blessing of turning another year older. So until next time, stay safe and be blessed.
Thank you for listening to the Empower Hour with Jaresha, where Jaresha speaks with leaders, influencers, and motivators who share their journey in personal and professional growth, empowerment tips, lessons learned, and keys of success that will empower you to your best self. Follow Jaresha on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jaresha Moore, and visit www.jaresha.com www.empoweronpurpose.com. Remember to be intentional and be empowered, and have a great day on purpose.